Good afternoon. My name is Roxanne Favors, and I'm the Assistant Aviation Director here at Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. And in my role as an Assistant Aviation Director, I'm the Chief Revenue Officer for the Phoenix Airport System. I am responsible for the strategic leadership and business initiative to grow our airport, both revenue generating areas. That includes our non-aeronautical areas, including our property management, our airport concessions, our parking and commercial advertising services, as well as our rent-a-car company operations. Last year, these lines of business accounted for an annual revenue of over $580 million to the airport. In addition to overseeing our strategic initiatives for revenue, I have strategic leadership over our business and properties division, which many of the staff are here today, as well as our contractors and services staff, which are here joining us today. Basically, they're our procurement office for our airport, as well as oversight of our air service development and our strategic land acquisition here at Sky Harbor. I first want to thank everyone here in attendance as well as virtually for taking the time today to attend today's session of All About Aviation Business Education Series. Your time is valuable, and we want to be very grateful for that and give you very good information to take forward. I do want to take a small moment to talk a little bit more about City of Phoenix Aviation Department and our role in managing our airport system. We are a department of the City of Phoenix. We manage and operate the Phoenix Airport System, which consists of Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport, Phoenix Deer Valley Airport, and Phoenix Goodyear Airport. Phoenix Sky Harbor is the largest of the airports in our system, as it is the commercial air service airport. It serves more than 135,000 passengers daily with over 1,200 flights per day. And Phoenix has consistently ranked in one of the top 10 busiest airports in the nation. We are considered a mega airport, listed number 3 as far as mega airports in the United States. And this really confirms our vision for our airport system, that we are extraordinary airports for a thriving Phoenix. In 2024, more than 52.3 million annual passengers traveled through Sky Harbor. Sky Harbor in 2024 was serviced by 25 airlines with nonstop service to over 110 destinations, including 25 international markets that contributed to an annual economic impact for here the state of about $44 billion a year. So we get to welcome the world to Phoenix, and part of that is we welcome both the business and the leisure passenger. At Sky Harbor Airport, we have a rent-a-car center facility that is immediately adjacent to the airport and is easily accessible by our SkyTrain system. Here today, we have 10 out of the 11 rent-a-car company brands that are joining us for this conversation. Today's session will focus on navigating opportunities with the rent-a-car companies, and we have a facilitated discussion that is scheduled for you. I'm going to turn the session over to Michael Hughes, and he'll get today's session kicked off. Thank you for attending.
All right. Thank you, Roxanne. Good afternoon and welcome everyone. My name is Michael Hughes. I'm the Deputy Aviation Director over the Contracts and Services Division of the Aviation Department. And one of the responsibilities of this division is to manage the department's small business engagement and outreach efforts. And this includes coordinating events like this. So first I want to thank the department's small business engagement and outreach manager, Sarah Morato, for leading the coordination of this event, and my admin team for all their administrative and technical support. I want to also thank all of you for joining us today. As Roxanne mentioned, this is our business education series all about aviation. This program serves to expand upon current outreach initiatives by offering quarterly sessions on a variety of topics covering different aspects of our 3 airports. Our goal with this program is to provide information to you about the airports and topics, rotate topics by highlighting different divisions, upcoming opportunities, business processes, and more. And today we have a panel discussion with our 4 of our rental car company partners and that provide rental car services at the Phoenix Sky Harbor Rental Car Center. Today's event is hybrid. So we have attendees that have joined us in person and online. So for those of you online, we've automatically muted your device. But if at any point you have a question, please enter that question into the WebEx chat feature, and we will get to those questions at the end of the presentation. Also, a recording of today's session and a list of attendees will be posted on our Sky Harbor outreach website. Everyone in attendance today will be sent an email within 72 business hours with information on how to access those materials. So today's sessions, we're lucky to have a partnership with our city's Equal Opportunity Department. I'm pleased to introduce the moderator for today's session, Valerie Churchwell. Valerie is the Deputy Director for the Equal Opportunity Department's Business Relations Division. Prior to Valerie's role as a Deputy Director, she and I worked together when she served as our previous Small Business Engagement and Outreach Manager, and she has extensive experience working with the small business community, disadvantaged business enterprise, and airport concession disadvantaged business enterprise programs. And Valerie also served as a senior policy advisor for Mayor Kate Gallego. So with that, Valerie, I'm going to turn it over to you, and I want to thank you again.
Thank you for having me today, and happy to be here with you. So let's get started with our panel. We'll go ahead and get started. So for each of our panelists, thank you for joining us today, and we're going to start with our intros. So tell us about your company, your role in the organization, and your history at Sky Harbor Airport. So we will start to my right, which is left on the camera. We'll get rocking and rolling.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Pleasure to be here today. My name is Ken Wyant. I am the Group Rental Manager for Enterprise Mobility. Enterprise operates at Sky Harbor, our Enterprise National and Alamo brands. A little bit about the company. Company's been in business for 65 years, so anybody good at math, that takes you to 1957. Founded by Jack Taylor. It's still a private company, still owned by the Taylor family. Now, over those years, we've grown a little bit. We operate just under 10,000 locations. That's both in the Home City neighborhood and airports, really worldwide at this point. So, and while it's not small, we still try to operate it like it has a small business feel. We have a regional office to where we're a little bit more decentralized, where a lot of the decisions, communication will come from. We have departments, whether it's our vehicle repair team, facility team, that we have a larger local presence. And then really my job is to make sure that, we have a small business feel, that our teammates, our vendors, our customers kind of match our our community around us. And a little bit more about my career. I've been with the company for 20 years. It actually started as an intern out of St. Cloud State up in Minnesota. I was with Enterprise for that summer, went back with them. Enterprise is a management training program. Did that, became a branch manager for our Home City locations, did a few of those, found myself at the airport in 2008 as the location manager. And that's when we purchased National and Alamo. And after that, I was promoted to Tri-Brand Area Manager of Production Team and Customer Facing Team at Terminal 1, Terminal 2 in Minneapolis. Shortly after that, I had an opportunity to come down here and thaw out. And I was promoted to the Group Rental Manager of Sky Harbor just in front of COVID. So that was a little bit of a unique period of time. And then since then, I've added on Mesa Gateway as the other part of my territory, so airports. And I've been working to put this thing back together ever since. And it's been awesome working with the Sky Harbor crew, and looking forward to answering some questions today.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that. Taylor.
Hi, I'm Taylor Stevens. I'm the fleet manager for Avis Budget Group at the Sky Harbor International Airport, as well as Tucson. We manage Avis Budget and Payless brands. High volume operation, dealing with fleet. I'm kind of filling in here for our general manager, but I do deal with all of our vendors and all of our maintenance teams. So I'm here to answer any questions about that.
All right. Thank you, Taylor. Daniel.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Daniel Cotterman. I am currently Director of Customer Operations for Hertz Dollar Thrifty here at Phoenix Sky Harbor. Obviously, high volume location. We are the third largest location in the country for Hertz Dollar Thrifty. So a little bit about background for me is that I started here 9 years ago at Hertz at the airport, part-time at the, exit gate, kind of worked a little bit everywhere, and I've made my way up to Director of Customer Operations and oversee most front of the house for how our operations run, but have involvement and decision-making for the whole location. So thank you, guys.
For joining us. And Emilio.
Hi, my name is Emilio Chavarin. I'm the Senior Operations Manager for Fox Rent-A-Car. I've been with the company for a little bit over 15 years. Fox itself is over 30 years. It was founded in 1989 by 3 partners in Los Angeles, California. It was one of the last independent companies until we were acquired in 2019 by the Europcar Mobility Group, which operates Europcar with a 26% market share in Europe. And I'm here to answer some of your guys' questions.
Right, well, don't turn off that mic. So I'm going to start with you with question number 2. What types of partnership opportunities does your company offer to small businesses?
Fox Rent-A-Car is mainly looking for maintenance and damage repair for our cars. That's about it, We're looking for competitive, competitive sources out there that can help us in the maintenance and repairing our damaged cars.
And question, Daniel, what is Hertz looking for?
As of currently, we don't have any openings for vendors for needs, but in the past, some of the things that we've had needs for vendors for are things like glass repair, detail work, if we needed to vend out details, tires, dents, janitorial services. We vend out transportation, so movement of vehicles. And, in the past, every once in a while, we might vend out needing outsourced labor to supplement our own. That's just some of the things that we could need or have needed in the past.
Taylor and Avis.
So at Avis, we're looking for tow providers, fleet transporters, even facility maintenance. We're always looking for new vendors. Even currently, we're looking for vendors to outsource our vehicle registration. So honestly, we're open to all sorts of different companies coming in. Currently, right now, we're out of season. So the door's probably going to open up around September or so. That's when we'll start looking for more vendors. But yeah, we're open for any ideas.
Thanks for that open window. And Ken.
Yeah, I think a lot of similarities here between all of us. Vehicles make up a large part of the opportunities that we're going to have. So the auto parts repair, that was previously mentioned. Cleaning services, anything that deals with vacuum maintenance of facilities, wash bay facilities. A couple that weren't mentioned, or towing was mentioned, signage. Anything branding, you have a large involvement, obviously, that's going to go through our national partnership, but there's smaller situations where signage is available. Locksmith keys is, I think, Carl, you're very familiar since you don't put them in a vehicle anymore, that those seem to pop up all over, so good opportunities for those. Janitorial is one that seems to come up pretty frequently since the facility is very large. And then lot maintenance, staffing opportunities, a lot of the similarities that were already mentioned today. So Enterprise doesn't currently have any procurement processes open. It was already alluded to, it's not our peak season, but planning for next fiscal year for us kind of starts here in the next couple months. So.
Thank you. And so for our guests that are here and those that are online, you can hear there's 15 or so opportunities that have rolled off that the companies have opportunities for you to come to work. So with that being said, let's move on to our next question. And again, this goes to whoever wants to jump in and take it. Would you share a specific example of small business partnership that exceeded your expectations? First part, and why does this experience stand out to you?
I will start with that one. And I think to start a partnership, I think a lot of us talk about the procurement process of being involved with that. And that is certainly one of the ways you can do that. The other way, I think, is having a relationship with, we have several different team members that we will go through that process with. But so I think just establishing a relationship, connecting is a big part because in our facilities, a lot of times there's emergency situations that pop up. And even if we do have a primary, sometimes a secondary might be needed. And in this particular case, down in Tucson, we had an opportunity with just some wash equipment with one of our vendors, Boyd Equipment, who goes back before I was here, but over 10 years ago when they had, I think, a handful of employees, we're able to jump in, help. Time is important when you're in our industry. Cars are not cheap. There's a significant amount of revenue, so we don't want them down. They were able to jump in, and I think what makes it unique is actually the partnership that kind of goes on beyond that, which really is kind of a growth opportunity for us as we were growing. And then they might have only been able to handle wash equipment at that time, but their unique ability, I think, to ask what our business was and what we needed was important, because then they started to take on other things that they might not have necessarily done. And then that kind of turns into a growth scenario from wash equipment to maintaining wash bays to building out wash bays. And then that is growing to them coming up to the Phoenix area, handling all wash bays, maintenance, and build outs of them for over 120 of our neighborhood locations here. Into Sky Harbor, and actually even there were a relationship handoff as AZA was building the new QTA facility over at AZA. So that has expanded them even outside of AZA. So something that starts, I think, at a pretty small footprint has ended with a pretty good growth strategy for them and a great business partner for us as well.
Thank you for that. Anybody else have a great example?
I can share an example. So one of the partners that we worked with in the past was a glass repair company. They stood out to us mainly because they made themselves invaluable while they were there. Obviously, just fixing glass and replacing glass wasn't the only thing that they did. They made themselves invaluable by being up and present where the cars were returning, helping find that damage, which in turn obviously helped them because it was an extra piece to be fixed, but it helped us by being able to have an extra set of eyes to actually identify that that damage was there. They made great relations with employees and management staff, so they were able to be there, be present, and find ways to be more valuable than just fixing the glass.
There it goes. Yeah, similar situation. We have a glass company as well that just consistently goes above and beyond. And I think the key point is they're willing to evolve and adapt and do tasks outside of what we originally hired them on to do. And then they are now taking over moving cars from our glass area to sell the cars. They're stripping the cars for us. So we've adapted what we originally hired them on to do to now do more, and they're making more money because of it. So if you're willing to be flexible and expand your current organization and adapt to our organization, I think you'll be more successful.
And similar to my counterparts here, I think we might be using some of the same glass companies here. We also use them like to get rid of smoke smell and all that kind of stuff in certain cars. They use ozonators and whatnot. So like many of these small businesses that start here, they end up doing other things as, we find things for them to do. And that's pretty much it.
So I would say just make sure that you have the appropriate coverages and compliances. Like, for example, we require any anyone driving one of our vehicles has to have a driver's license. That's an easy one. Insurance, we require $1 million in liability of insurance. If you're going to be a body shop doing work for us, you have to have your own spray booth. You have to have a secured lot. Just be aware before you partner with, especially a rental car company, that these are very expensive assets, and we do hold you liable for anything that could go wrong with it. So make sure you're covered.
Anybody else with any?
I can jump in. Just something to note, that not necessarily just about like insurance and coverage and know what you're getting into, but one thing that you might not be prepared for is the sheer volume. We're a 24-hour location, 365 days a year, seeing thousands of cars in and out, thousands of different customers. So what our facilities, like a mile wide between downstairs, upstairs. So depending on what it is that you might be getting into, be prepared to be able to keep up with that volume for whatever it is. You might need extra employees, extra coverage, expectations to work weekends, nights, things of that nature, depending on what actual contract you get involved in and what's needed. But the turnaround time is generally considered high because we need things quickly to get them on the road, or we need places cleaned, et cetera. So just know the volume is a little bit larger than you might expect.
Well, just to, I think, piggyback on both of those thoughts, I think sometimes also people believe if we're a large corporation that we deal with a lot of this stuff just on a national level, or the cost might be drilled down on some of these opportunities, but there's a lot of opportunities that we need on a local side of things, because whether what we're looking for, large amounts of liquid that you can't ship, or we need a closer in proximity option, or we have experts in here locally because of what the heat might do to our vehicles is going to be different than the cold, or mist systems that, a lot of that stuff we're going to have to deal with here locally. And I think the biggest thing that we talk a lot about is when we go through this process is on the backside of COVID, there seems to be a challenge for meeting the expectation of some of the vendors that we bring on, or for them to be able to hit a time goal or provide the staffing or do what they say they're going to do. And I think that that's probably one of the most noticeable things, is that in order, I think, for it to work, it has to work more than just the first time. It's a relationship that has to go both. So if we rely on somebody post-COVID, there's been challenges with staffing and, costs, and I understand a lot of that stuff. But if it's impacting, a large business, that's when we're going to find ourselves possibly in another procurement process. So I think being ready to be able to take on the volume that they were kind of talking to, and not overextending yourself, and making sure that you're ready to take that on before you just say, hey, I want this, or I'm going to try it, and then it might not work out, which probably won't be great for growth opportunities.
Right. One of my favorite sayings is everybody gets the first invitation. They're working on getting that second or third or fourth opportunity. So small businesses hear what the gentlemen are sharing, that you've got to be ready to make it happen. So, all right, let's move on to our next question. How is technology shaping the relationship between rental car companies and your small business partners?
Yeah, so as we obviously keep growing in technology as a society, like we always have different technological needs. At Hertz, at least at our location, we've gotten away from paper on anything. So just know that we have different systems and integrations that small businesses would have to be ready to be into. So like if you aren't doing anything in the data integrations, you would need to in order to be able to integrate with our systems. So let's say you're doing car repairs, it needs to integrate into our systems that go through where our inspections were done, that then charged a customer. And so it's not that it's something you couldn't do, but you have to be prepared to integrate to all the systems. And one of the things to note is that a lot of places, including us, are making steps towards the use of AI in our everyday use. Like we just set up UVI systems at our entrances and exits, so their cars are scanned as they leave and when they come back, to identify the differences between damage, what it was already present when they left and when they came back, so that it can flag the car and then automatically gets it to the shop. send invoice to the customer, and send repair orders to whoever is working on it. So being able to be integrated into those systems is something that you would definitely need to be able to do.
Just on the technology side of what you just ended with is, I think the idea of speed to whether we're vending or whether we're going to have a request for an order is, the quicker we can get to the end user or to multiple end users who can get out to the facility to repair whatever the entity might be, and then even being open to the use of technology on the backside of after it's closed, to where the billing, invoicing, the idea is, the quicker we do that, the more available our fleet is. The more available our fleet is, obviously, that has our biggest interest. So doing business, at times, if you're a smaller vendor, if we're going to pick up a phone to call someone, that's slower. If we have 200 different employees on property that are going to submit something, we would rather use our technology and someone that's open to that to be able to funnel it through quicker so we can get an end result faster. So that absolutely is something that comes up frequently.
Daniel, real quick, what type of assistance do you provide to small businesses to ensure that they can integrate with your systems properly?
Well, obviously, we would give them the support needed to integrate with those systems, whether that be that we'd set them up with their own logins for these different things, or have the technology back end to funnel to them or funnel to us. So obviously, we'll partner with them to make sure that all of it can happen. Just that prepared to know that you might have to switch things up. I don't know, depending on how small of a business or what you're doing currently, you might have to change some of your processes to match ours.
No more technology answers. All right, well, now's the time that we'd like to stop and see if we have any questions from our audience, be it either in person or online.
I have a mic for you. Sorry, sir.
coming.
Here we go. So people online.
Great, thank you. I suspect you have in-house teams that do this, and as you know, the nature of the Phoenix market, tourism season is radically different than this time of year. Do you need supplemental resources to transport vehicles to enlarge your fleet during peak season?
I would say yes, for Ava's budget. A lot of times we need to move more fleet than our current vendors are able to move. So a lot of times we reach out to backup vendors and then their backup vendors. So it's a pretty fast thing. So when we need them, we need people to respond right away and get these cars picked up and moved from other locations. Especially during the end of season, we start shipping fleet to California, and that needs to happen fast. So a lot of times our vendors aren't able to, or our go-to vendors aren't able to handle that volume right away. So we'll reach out to other vendors and see how we can get it done in one swoop.
Yeah, I think the quick answer to that is yes. That's our largest need and is always our largest need. It's where we spend the most amount of money, obviously, and a market that expands like a Phoenix market or is a retail market, there's always going to be that need. It's highly competitive. We have a large chunk of that internally, and then kind of the same thing where you've seen a little bit across the industry is where we partner with multiple providers, excuse me, as they all kind of have different expertise. It's not just, I think, moving a car now. There's a little bit more involved. So I think a lot of us have made several partnerships, but given the scope and the size of them, we review them quite frequently. But I think there'll always be a need for transportation because we're not only moving them within our own walls in our facility, but around the metro to other airports. There's thousands of moves, so it's pretty continuous year round, even in our slow season.
For Fox, yes. While we try our customers to take them on one-ways, that's not enough. So we're always looking for transportation to take them to our busier cities. So yes, for Fox.
Yeah, trucking is a need. Obviously, we have different partnerships and different groups that we'd reach out to for trucking. But being a part of that network of potential clients or vendors for that would be still good.
You got all yeses to your question. Any other questions? Online or in the room?
So just kind of piggyback to that, your last answers. For those entities that are interested in getting on your vendor list, are those only available to get on during a solicitation process? You talk about the different layers of having vendors available. What if an entity wants to get on that list? Is that only an opportunity when you have an open solicitation type process, or can an entity approach you at any time to get on that vendor list? So when you do have those demands, they're on the list to be called.
No, I think, you know, starting a relationship is, you can, whether that's today or, you know, during a procurement process, that's fine, but you absolutely can. The list, a lot of our procurement processes are going to start more inside out, you know, as far as going through, seeing if, you know, they're certified, to going through our current relationships where you started that process, and letting them kind of expand from that. So I think you don't have to wait to a procurement process to reach out to touch base with me or any one of my other departments that are going to go through these processes quite regularly.
For Ava's budget, I have a list that I go off of when I'm contacting transporters. When my go-to transporter is not able to do the job, I usually resort to the other vendors on the list. But if I have to reach out to a new vendor, it's usually about rate at that point. So usually to get your foot in the door, maybe you have to lower the rate for a couple times, and then if you're able to do more jobs for me, I'll usually kind of get you more on my go-to list.
And yeah, as far as for Hertz Dollar Thrifty, I'm going to be honest, I don't have a complete answer to that, but we always have people you can reach out to. One of the people on the virtual with me is Stephanie. She would be a good resource for that. So we can get you contact information.
And for Fox Rent-A-Car, that's why we're here today. I got business cards here. We can get you in touch with our corporate location. So.
And if I can loop back real quick for our businesses that may not be as familiar with the industry, you've shared about the season and the windows. What are those timings for people who may not know?
Typically, our season is, I'd say, it could be November all the way through end of March, even into April. So just your snowbird season, just think of that. And then it's too hot for travelers a lot of times in the summertime, so our volume leaves with the snowbirds.
And that would be different than other places where we shift out once it gets a little too hot here, right? All right, looks like we have another
I
question.
assume you also track the mega events that might not be during the season, but you know that there's going to be an uptick for that week or two.
Yes, absolutely. We always, like, even coming up, we have a soccer event at the end of June that we're tracking because we know we're going to be renting a lot of pass vans and minivans. So we know exactly what events are happening, like when golf tournaments happen. We know exactly what kind of cars we're going to be renting at your SUVs, anything that's going to hold golf clubs. So we definitely do keep track of that.
Thank you. My question is a little different. I noticed you gentlemen were talking mostly about products, services, such as restoration of windshields and maintenance and those types of things. So how does it work when you're introducing a new product to your company?
Events like this work really well because you can get us your information. If you have a service to provide that we may not have any knowledge of, but maybe we're interested in trying something new, best way to do it is to get us your contact info, tell us what you do, and explain why you can do it better than the competition, and we'll reach back out to you and let you know if we're interested.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Thank you. My one question is going to be for, excuse me, small businesses that aren't on your list or whatnot. How are they going to become aware of your procurement process and when that opens up, when you start looking for providers for solicitation?
I would say again, we usually don't start reaching out until the demand is there, and we start to realize we have a problem with current vendors, and we need to supplement. So I would say the best thing to do is have more events like this, get us contact info, so that the next time that demand is there and we need to fill a hole somewhere, we know who to reach out to.
Yeah, providing contact information to at an event like this, or reaching out to potentially procurement, corporate procurement, and just being known and put your name on a list to be potentially looked at, making sure that you have everything that set up that you would need, so that you could be at the table the next time there is a need.
This might be a question for the airport, actually. Does the airport maintain a vendors list of vendors for vendors, potential vendors for vendors, to make it easier for the primary vendor to tap into whatever services folks are offering?
Sarah, would you like to speak to our interest vendor list?
Yes, hi. My name is Sarah Murado. I'm the Small Business Engagement Manager at the Aviation Department. And we do have a variety of ways in which the vendor community can engage with us, one of which Valerie just mentioned is our interest list. And we'd be happy to share information of how to sign up for that after the event. We'll follow up with all of our attendees with the attendee list, as well as the recording of this. And we can share how you can get added to our interest list so that you can receive updates from us on any outreach events that we host, as well as any upcoming solicitations within your industry. You can also reach out to us with any questions that you might have. And I'll drop in the chat our business opportunities emails so that you can reach out to us at any time with any questions.
So I knew that answer was probably going to be reflective of that. The question is, are you aware of that? And maybe it's a resource for you to tap into instead of going through, searching for companies that you don't even know exist. Whereas the airport may have a readily available list of glass repair companies that, just a thought.
Well, I think that information is probably good to know on our end, and something that we can certainly explore. A lot of our start of the process is establish relationships or previous experiences with, or, I know we a lot of the times use the AZ UTRAC site too, on who's gone through that certification process. But pairing with Sky Harbor on that, I think, is certainly something that we could probably do a deeper dive with for sure.
We do have one more question here.
How's it going? Caleb Howard. Two-part question. First one, do you guys own or just lease the space?
Lease it?
Yeah, for the rental car facility?
Yeah.
That's all on a rental
Okay.
lease, yes.
Because everything that you mentioned, like your needs of glass cleaning, this and that, we do like parking lot maintenance and line striping. So I don't know if that's more of a conversation with the airport themselves. I also know maybe in your guys' areas, we could reorganize or restructure the parking lot in a way that could be more efficient, and maybe there's an opportunity there. I know you don't want to spend a bunch of money on repairing asphalt. That's on the airport's responsibility, but just trying to figure out opportunities for us to potentially work with you guys.
So although we do lease, a lot of the lot maintenance is our responsibility. So we do have a lot of, especially around our car washes, that concrete erodes quickly. Almost every year we're filling potholes somewhere on the lot. line striping. We're always moving our lot around. We're always rethinking how we want to organize our lots. So we repaint our lots almost every 2 years or so. And those are big projects.
Yeah, that's a potential for on the vendor list of things. Obviously, it's not every day, but it is something that is done.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a whole lot to add, but lot maintenance, painting, it's frequent, especially if you're not in the ramp, sun fade, a lot of that stuff. We're constantly looking at that. So and I think that's where getting our contact, getting yours, and when that comes up, then obviously that's certainly an opportunity.
So if I may add a few things, my name is Carl Cephas. I manage a rental car program with Aviation Business and Properties. So you could look at it in two different ways. One, you have your exclusive use areas where the stakeholders, the rental car brands are responsible for maintenance. Then you have common areas. We have common areas like within the garage, the common drive lanes. So any maintenance to the drive lane is on the airport. And I guess I might as well touch on the barrier maintenance. There was a question about concrete barriers or jersey barrier maintenance. So within exclusive use areas, generally it's the rental car brands that are responsible. And the common areas, it would be the airport's responsibility. One more thing I wanted to add. So the panel members represent 10 out of the 11 brands. We have Fox, Mr. Emilio, he's with Fox, and we also have a brand called Six. So those two operators are called the independent operators. So they pay the airport operations and maintenance fees. So we, the airport, would maintain their fuel island, car wash, their service site overall. Everyone else represented here, they are exclusive use. So their service site is exclusive use, exclusively, so they are responsible for the maintenance. So hope that clarifies. So, yeah. And you're more than welcome to join our interest list because City of Phoenix, we will go out for procurement, you know, for airside maintenance. They manage the maintenance at the garage and common areas. So, you know, paving, asphalt, crack seal, so forth. So that clears it up. So.
Thank you, Carl. And we do have several questions online. Valerie, if you don't mind, I just wanted to make sure those folks online that had some questions could have these. And some of these might be a little repetitive. There's folks that are asking about the facilities. So Carl just answered some of that, and you can reach out to us as well. We had a question about if rental car companies or the airport facilities interested in antimicrobial solutions that can protect from the spread of germs. For the airport facility side, I will defer to what we mentioned before about our interest list and reaching out to us on that bus ops email and what Carl said, but I will ask the rental car companies if they'd like to respond to that as well.
I would say for vehicle cleaning, we have a pretty large vendor that we use that is a corporate standard. So we're not really looking to get any additional chemicals or cleaning solutions. But if they're talking about for just like surfaces or cleaning for the facility, possibly.
Okay, and then I have another question, and this is actually asked a couple times. If you are currently seeking subcontractors, which you did address a bit in that first question, but multiple times they've asked how they can connect. And one thing I did mention before is that we will be reaching out to folks after this within 72 business hours. So we will have an attendee list with everyone that was in attendance here, as well as some contact information for our panelists as well. So if there's anything additional that our rental car operators would like me to include in that, as far as how to connect with them, we'll be sure to add that as well. There's a question about how are you required to provide background checks?
I guess I'm not sure if that is regarding if they're talking about transportation or staffing or us internally. So I think trying to get more information. There's times where obviously if somebody's involved in moving a vehicle, we are going to have background checks on certain things or staffing companies that we might use. But without more information, that's harder to answer.
All right, and then we also have a question about, another one about contact information we'll be sure to address. Do you have a list of services that is needed right now? I know you kind of spoke to those, but is there any type of list or documentation where folks can be referred to for current opportunities?
We don't have anything posted for current opportunities or a way to post that to the public. Now, some of that stuff we might be able to pair what we already discussed, but a lot of this is, I think, being available, having a relationship, networking starting today, and then when opportunities come up, there's going to be a few different pathways that I feel like even connecting. I know we've done some things nationally of how you create that. I guess higher level of involvement. We've done webinars on some of that stuff, and even on how we mentor previous client or companies that have been involved in the procurement process that might not have gotten it and what they might have seen or what they could do differently for the next time it comes around. So I don't think this is just you show up on a list and you have your name there and then that's one. Like, this is a much longer process that a lot of the times will start with an environment like this. And then also there's research done on your brand, whether it's social media ratings or customer service ratings. Like, can be a lot longer process than where is this open? Because rarely are we gonna go from not knowing someone to selecting them and having them part of a large process before we know more, I guess. So I think this stage is a good one to start with.
We also have someone else from Hertz that's joined us, Stephanie, who would like to chime in on that. Stephanie, if you're online, if you want to unmute yourself, you're welcome to address that question.
Can you hear me okay, Sarah?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. So I think I'm going to chime in on the list of opportunities. And I'll say the same thing. There's not a list of opportunities per se, but typically what I do, if I'm not attending an event such as this, I would give out some information of how you can contact me. I would ask you to register your information, because although there may not be an opportunity right now, the registration allows me to kind of go back to get an idea of who's in a space that I might be looking for. I sit within the procurement organization. So as I get calls or realize opportunities are coming about, that's that list that I would kind of go back to maybe contact that supplier and have a little bit more dialogue with them to see if it's within scope of something that they can do. So that's how I tend to operate. I'll give you some information. I'll share the information with Sarah and how people can contact me. But then I'll have a further conversation about what it is you do. And then I think, like the gentleman from Enterprise kind of mentioned, is a lot of dialogue that kind of goes along with identifying opportunities, having further conversations. Again, we want to make sure it's a good fit for you as well as for us. Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you. And that's all the questions we have online at this time.
So Stephanie, while we have you, there is one final question that we would like to pose to you. Are there emerging business models or trends that small businesses should be aware of that could better position themselves for partnership opportunities?
Is that the last question? Oh my God.
Question.
I don't know. I won't say, I think you guys kind of touched on it already. Whereas AI is playing definitely a large part in how we're trying to, transform how we operate. So technology, and I think Daniel mentioned it, is a bigger part of it. The paper is no longer available. When we're asking you to onboard, we're asking you so that you can get acclimated with our systems. So you might have to do some upgrading of your system. So kind of getting used to different types of technology so that you'll be able to maneuver the work orders. Work orders aren't coming from an email. It's coming from a system. So then we're getting you acclimated to our system so that you then can receive that work order so that you can go to work. So I think those are some of the things that people need to be mindful of as it relates to, various stages of, technology, just being ready to change because it's definitely here and it's here to stay.
Likewise for Fox, we use Veruzi, if anybody's aware of that. That's where we do our work orders and purchase orders through for the vendors and for us. That's how they get paid, and we pay them.
With that, we would like to see if we have any final thoughts from our panelists to close us out for the afternoon. Anything from you, Kenneth?
I think there's been a lot of questions on like connectivity. There's also local outreach events, and the process I think isn't, again, just getting a name to one of us or an email to one of us. It's actually being involved, understanding our business, and it gives us time to understand what it is that you guys might offer. So whether it's on a local side of things, if it's on a national scale, I think starting that process and then sticking with it, even if it seems like it can take a while. Some of our current vendors, I used one that, we've been in a partnership with 10 plus years, so it's not like opportunities are going to just fly open every other week. There is certainly opportunities, but, the process of selection is going to come back to, who we're comfortable with and who's been able to establish that they can meet the needs and perform at the level that we're doing so that we can continue to be experts in the rental car industry and let, our business partners be experts in whatever it is that we're using them for, so.
Thank you. Taylor?
I would say, just keep an eye on the industry. Things happen, especially after COVID. We saw a decline in being able to hire people. So we heavily relied on vendors, and it got to the point where we had to use multiple vendors for the same task. So for moving cars, we hired 3 separate vendors. That opened up opportunities for 2 different companies to come in. So just keep an eye on the industry. Always be up to date on what's going on at the airport and the rental car center, and just try to find an in. That'd be a good place to start.
Yeah, these guys kind of went over, opportunities. There are them that jump in and you'll be able to fulfill. But we do have longstanding relationships with people, so definitely want to be looking out and seeing when there is an opportunity, get to know the industry if you don't know the rental car industry, and see if there's a niche that you could fill that we might not even realize that needed to be filled. So.
Likewise, like these guys been saying, and for your competitors out there, if you guys talk with them, referrals go a long way. We seek referrals from our existing vendors who understand our process and what we expect from them.
All right. Well, thank you all for your nuggets today. 3 big ones that I took away are for you to remember: the primary vendor may not always be the final vendor. So make sure you're ready in case they have to go to number 1, number 2, number 3, and pick up from there. Keep in mind that it's those that made themselves valuable and available. We heard you talk about the speed. We heard you talk about the readiness. So keep that in mind. And then we heard it loud and clear: the relationships do matter. So please, if you are online or in the audience, these are the type of events that we offer here at Sky Harbor. And we'd like for you to come and join us, because rarely do you get access to individuals like this that you can talk to firsthand. And believe me, it goes a long way. And as we heard, it starts the relationship. So with that said, thank you to the audience that has joined us today. Thank you for our panelists that have taken time out of your schedule to be here. We will be here to stick around and answer, or they will be here to stick around and answer any questions that you have shortly. And with that, have a wonderful day and look forward to seeing you in the future. Thank you.